All right, another patron request here. This is the one that is paired with Mimic, and I am assuming that is because we are dealing with the New York City location. Definitely a very random pairing. This is one I've never heard of, I've never seen, nothing, which is great. I think this is the first one that you've asked me for that I have not ever even heard of, let alone not seen. I know I did Drop Dead Gorgeous, which I had never seen, but this one I've never even heard of. So that's cool. And it says it's based on a true story. I kind of tried to look it up. I didn't try that hard, honestly. I just went to the Wikipedia and I scanned through it, and I was trying to find the link to where the true story was to see how this was the true story. But anyway, for anyone who's curious about this one, before I get into the spoilers, essentially it's about a girl who is living in New York City. She is from, I don't know if it's established. Maybe it says somewhere in there. I thought she was speaking Spanish. Is she from Spain? I don't remember. I know that the girl that she's hanging out with is Russian, but she definitely does not speak Russian. She's definitely not Russian. So I forget if it says, but regardless, she gets lured into this party because she's struggling financially and she needs money, and her friend tells her, hey, why don't you fill in for me at this gig? It's easy money. You don't got to do anything you don't want to do. Show up, wear a black dress, and you're good to go. They'll pay you $2,000 and $4,000 if they want you back or something. And go, and all is gonna be well. All's not fucking well. All's not fucking well. So if that sounds up your alley, check it out. It's short. It's only 80 minutes. Now, this was written, directed, and stars our main girl here, which is impressive. And then there's the chick who I'm assuming plays Olga, the girl who tells her to go there. Her name is Natasha Romanovo. When I saw it for a second, I thought it was a joke, because I thought it was Natasha Romanoff from the Avengers movies, Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson's character. But yeah, I never seen that name so close to the other one. For a second, I really thought it said Natasha Romanoff, and I was like, oh my god, that's so crazy close. So yeah, let's get into the movie. It definitely had that indie feel to it, almost like a Sean Baker film, where the characters felt very real. It felt like a very gritty look at the life of someone who is an immigrant and is just trying to do absolutely anything to get by. She's taking these odd jobs. She doesn't really have anything to offer in the way of an education or skill sets or anything. She's a very pretty girl, but she doesn't want to do anything too crazy, which, who can blame her? And so she's just struggling to find work and find money, and she's doing this advertising on the street for a chicken sandwich or a chicken company or something. She's doing babysitting for this rich family. She's trying to do it all. She's trying to take on way too many things at once. And she gets offered this too good to be true opportunity, and she feels like she has no choice but to jump on it, because she is so massively broke. Her life is kind of falling apart. The rent's due at her place. She's going to get kicked out. She has nowhere to go. She got nothing. She doesn't want to get deported. She doesn't want to be on the streets. So yeah, this is a very real look at desperation, and this is something that speaks to me above many other things. Seeing people struggle like this definitely gets in my feels, because I care very much. I'm not the kind of person that's fuck them. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps or get fucked. That is so not me. I understand that the system is rigged against most of us. That anybody who thinks that as long as you just, put in the time and the effort and the work, that you're going to succeed. Nonsense. Pure nonsense sold to you to make you, just bow to the system and be another cog in the wheel, to be a worker ant. We get these kind of inspirational stories that are fed to us of like the little guy who worked his way up from the mailroom and is now CEO of the company. Yeah, you know how many fucking stories there are like that? Like 10. There's so few people. You know how many people are on Earth? And I know people are like, fucking excuses, this and that. I'm sorry. The people who are at the top are pieces of shit. Period. Plain and simple. They did not get there out of skill. They got there off of stepping on people. And if that's how people want to get to the top, then fucking more power to them, I guess. Not really. I personally would fucking rather put a bullet in their head myself. But regardless, these people, they're not fucking like better than you. They didn't do anything that makes them special. Most of them are getting there off of like their parents or some kind of leg up in the system. And anyone selling you anything different is fucking lying to you. So anyway, this is something that I hold very close to my heart. The system's rigged against us. And this chick, she's trying to do anything to get by. And I feel for her. And I do really feel for this character. It sucks. And she's not, this perfect angel by any means, right? She does some questionable things here. Morally, she's not a perfect character, as is the case with a lot of people. So it made her very believable in that way. But when it really matters, and this is how you test the mettle of a man, right, or a woman. You put them in dire circumstances. You put them in these kind of ethical conundrums or whatever, and then you see what really comes out of people. You see what moral high ground they can really stand on. And I feel like when things really matter in this movie, she does what's right. And that's what really matters. So good on her for that. Very believable character. Very uncomfortable film. Not only just with the desperation that people have to go through just to fucking survive. The fact that like people in this country or others can't even fathom that basic concept. Like they don't know what desperation is. Like people with money, I genuinely don't understand what problems they could possibly even have. Literally every single problem in my life currently could be solved with money, instantaneously done. I'm not saying all problems can be solved with money, but I can say that almost all problems can be helped with money and or solved. Primarily like 98% of problems are absolutely solved with money. I don't see how. Yeah, just with my life, right? Obviously, if you have some incurable disease and there's nothing that you can do, you can set up your family with the money so that you don't have that on your conscience, right? Like, oh, my kids will be taken care of at least, right? You have the best medical treatment for, going to the best possible place for you to be taken care of and made most comfortable. And, so money can help with literally anything, honestly. So anyway, this movie definitely touched a nerve in that place in me. Something that, as I said, I feel very, very strongly about. I don't talk about politics on the channel ever, even though I know a lot of you know that I follow them religiously. But I would say it's not hard to figure out what a side of the spectrum I fall on with my rants. If anyone's ever been confused on that, I don't know what fucking channel they're watching. Anyway, man, when this movie starts, it's just a reminder, and this is how I feel when I go to crowded places like a Disneyland or something. There's just so many people, guys. There's just so many people on this planet. It's crazy. And this is such a small snapshot of people. Like when we go to these these big areas with a lot of people that are compacted into one section of the planet, that's nothing. That's a drop in an ocean of living humans. It's wild. Like you can go to Disneyland, and I think capacity at Disneyland is like 60,000. That's nothing. That's nothing. That's not even the. That's like the size of a small town. That's nothing. But it feels like you're just like a wave of bodies is coming at you, and you're just like, how the fuck are there this many people? And every one of those people needs X amount of clean water, food. They all have desires and hopes and want to, to have a partner and a life and potentially a kid and a house. And it's crazy when you really sit down and think about how many people there are, and that they all have wants and desires and need things, like legitimately need things, and how much of that there needs to be able to give everybody everything. It's overwhelming to the brain. I think about it every time I see like a huge collection of people, especially in my real life, and I can't ever stop thinking about it whenever I watch movies like this. And she's just, she's just a little ant. She's just walking around in the anthill, and you zoom up wide enough, and it's just all of these different. She just fades into the crowd like we all do. We feel the further you pull back, the farther you look back, the more insignificant you feel. And when you're poor, there's a lack of self-worth, and this takes away your desire to kind of push forward and persevere and to go for something, because you literally lose yourself, your value inside. You feel like you're not important, right? I've been dealing with medical issues for years and years and years, and because I've always been poor since I was a kid, I don't think it matters. Like, I don't think I matter, right? You start to get that kind of that's the way you feel in your psyche. You really start to believe, like, and you'll take care of, like, I'll take care of my kids. If anything goes wrong with them, I'm on it instantly, because they mean everything to me, and to me they matter. They're valuable. They're worth saving. And you get in this headspace where you're like why no one cares about me? Like, I don't matter, right? And you have to really break yourself out of that. It's very hard to do. And that's why a lot of people end up staying kind of where they're at, is because they tell themselves over and over and over again that they're losers, and wouldn't you know it, they stay that way. So anyway, her having to like go to the doctor, and she doesn't even have the copay because she doesn't have insurance. Fucking join the club. And she's like having to sneak back and talk to the doctor, which is super embarrassing. And you're just like, man, I just don't feel well. I've been there so many times. I felt so bad. And it's like, when you feel like you don't have the money, this is why we need a Medicare for all. This is why we need a fucking single payer healthcare system. Because like, when you don't feel like you matter, right? Like, it's like, sorry, I don't have the money, right? And unless you're like dying, the hospital has to treat you, and then all their job is to stabilize you and then get you the fuck out. They're just like, okay, you look like you're gonna live. Doesn't matter how much pain you're in. It doesn't matter what your quality of life is. That's not what they're there for. They're not there to make you better. They're there to make sure you're not dead. That's it. That's the criteria that they have to meet. And when you feel like you're insignificant, it takes away all of your drive. It makes you feel expendable. And that's kind of how this girl feels, and I get it. I 100% get it. These are the kinds of stories that really get at me. So yeah. And yeah, she's lost a child, from what I can tell. She doesn't really talk about things all that much. You kind of just have to pick up on these things. Um, and then when she's like sitting in the bathtub and she just takes the tape off the wall and the roaches all fall off the wall and into the water and they're just swimming around in there with her and she's kind of unfazed by it because like to her, I feel like she just feels like, I'm sure she's already dealt with stuff like this. Just being someone, I've lived in roach filled apartments. When I was really poor, the amount of roaches I had in my Cottonwood apartment was crazy. I used to have it sprayed all the time. It didn't matter. I would wake up with them on my body. It was disgusting. It was horrible. I've definitely lived in some horrible apartments in my life. I've lived in some terrible conditions. Now that I have kids, once again, this is talking about earlier when I was growing up and I got my own apartments and stuff. Because I was raised that way, I didn't ever see myself to have value, that I deserved anything better. It just felt like that's where I belonged. I was a roach. Like it didn't make any difference to me. So I was used to it, and it felt like that's my status in life. That's where I'm supposed to be. And then once I had kids, I wanted better for them. So I started, you know, looking for and getting ourselves a better living situation so that my kids would not grow up like that. And now my kids have a lot of self-worth and a lot of value, and they won't do those things when they grow up. They just won't. Like when they feel bad, they'll figure it out and they'll go to the doctor and they'll get treated and they'll have, they'll just get, that's just how their brain will be wired. Mine is not wired that way. I think that I'm supposed to be like a martyr, that it's like, I feel uncomfortable, I feel like shit, but whatever, that's me, I'm fine, I'm not going to take care of myself, which is stupid. I know it is, but it's hard to break. You don't understand unless you're that person. It's very easy on the outside to just judge people for how their brains work and be like, oh, just don't do that, dumbass. Just don't have anxiety. I see that all the time. Like, anxiety is a joke. It's a made up thing so that you can. Anytime I see that, I want to break that person's face so fucking hard. Like, you think that we choose to have anxiety? You really think that's how it works? You know absolutely fucking nothing about the human brain and our reactions to things. So, yeah, I feel so bad for this girl. This girl has so much going on against her. And it's like, what does she do? Like, what's your answer? People who think that people like this should just go get a job and what's she really gonna do to get back up? In fact, I mean, shit, half this country would just want her deported. Although she's pretty and looks white, so maybe not. Maybe they would be like, oh, she can get into prostitution, or she should just like marry a rich man or something fucking inane like that, something that's like demeaning and lacks any kind of value for the person that she is. She wants to carve out her own path and whatnot. So like, I don't know, it is tough. Like, what does she do to get by in a meaningful way? How does she get on top? The American dream, if you will. She starts working at a company and what? How? It's fucking tough. It is insanely tough. She's looking at like selling her eggs. She's looking at like, she does so much shit in this. It really is a good snapshot of the immigrant experience, or just kind of impoverished experience within this country. And others, I'm sure, but I know the American experience as well as anybody. She tears the dress to get it at a discount. She offers the girl $20. We don't get to see the rest of that interaction, but she obviously gets it. That's of course kind of fucked up, but at the same time, I don't know. This is like a higher end store. I definitely don't condone illegal activities to a degree, right? Like, now some place like Walmart, I honestly, like, I don't think you should shoplift. I don't. But I'll tell you, man, like if I go into a Walmart and they forget to ring me up for something and I get out to the car and I notice, I'm not going back in. Fuck Walmart. They're like, oh, well, lucky break for me. Tough for them. Fuck them. How much do the Waltons need? How much money does Walmart need? I mean, they fucked over every small business in this country. Bunch of rich pricks. But on the flip side of that, if I was to get rung up, and I've done this, somebody forgot to ring me up at like a mom and pop store in town, a small business like that, 100% I'm walking back in and telling them. I just in the last year, maybe 6 months ago or so, we were at Walmart and I found a wallet in the street. It was like a woman's like zipper wallet. And I picked it up and I was like, oh shit, right? And I opened it up because I wanted to see like if I could find a license, a phone number, something to call, maybe a cell phone inside or something so that I could contact this person. This had at least $2,000 in cash in the wallet. And I sat there with my kids and my wife for probably 20 minutes like trying to like figure out. And I was looking at the thing and I was calling different numbers like in there that were like business cards and stuff. I was like trying to figure out like, do you know this person? Finally, like the security guard came out and was looking around, and then there was a woman running around frantically looking, and she was like freaking out. And like I walked over to her and I was like, hey, is this yours? And she's like, oh my gosh. She like barely spoke any English. And oh man, what a wonderful example to set for my kids in that moment. Like never, ever, 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 ever would I take that money. Never in a million years. Now, if it was some rich prick like an Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos and I saw him drop fucking a briefcase full of cash, would I give it to him? Fuck no. Fuck no, I would not. Like I could use to lose some money anyway. All right, off my high horse. But this is the kind of emotions that were pulled out of me while watching this, because that's just it. This like the people in this movie are so desperate that they'll put themselves in this horrible situation and actually come back. They're risking their life for a pittance. These rich elite pricks who sit around, because this is what really happens. Rich people, once they can afford anything, it sucks all of the joy out of life because they don't want for anything anymore. Like when you and I, normal people, when we want something, which is a consumer-based society, which don't get me fucking started on capitalism, consumerism, that shit has poisoned our brains for sure. But putting all of that aside, knowing that we are conditioned in that way, when we want something, when we're excited about something, like a movie, like a Blu-ray or something, and we get it, it gives us this excitement because we earned it, because we did something that's exciting, and we got something. And when you can have anything and you can buy it all, and you can go around the world and you can have all the things, everything starts to become less shiny, becomes less exciting for a lot of people. I don't think this would ever happen to me, mostly because I've slummed it for so fucking long that I would never take anything for granted. But especially people who have grown up rich, there's nothing that excites them anymore, so they have to do things that are abhorrent, that are, morally questionable, that are illegal, that are unique, something hostile, whatever. I want to kill a person. I want to fucking watch two people fight to the death in front of me. I want to watch something nobody else can see because I'm rich, because I'm important, because I matter. This is Squid Games, right? I mean, that's the whole fucking premise of Squid Games. This is essentially a very low-level, believable Squid Game. That's all I could think about when I was watching this, for a much, much, much smaller jackpot. And that's just it. It's just these dickheads can't fucking seem to. This is the whole Epstein Island thing, right? Like these fucking assholes just can't get enough, and they feel like they're above the law. They feel like they're special. They feel like the whole fucking world is their plaything. Infinity pool. did this pretty well. These people who just think that they can go in and fuck up places, that there's no consequences for them, that the world is their oyster. These are the worst people. Rich people are the worst fucking people on earth. You know, most of them. I'm sure there's some good ones, but fuck, they got to be few and far between. I've had a lot of rich clients, and most of them are pricks. Anyway, she's a terrible babysitter. She's really bad with the kids, but the kids are really bad. I've done a lot of like nannies hair, and for rich people, and these people are the absolute fucking worst parents imaginable. They are so brutal. They want nothing to do with their kids. They just have nannies raise their children for them. Like, I was hanging out with this nanny, and she would talk to me about how I used to do her hair, and she would talk to me about how, like, she watched the kids, like, the whole way. She lived at the house. She was from Russia. And she would come in, and she would do, like, 5 days, Monday through Friday, where it was just her and the kids, and the mom was out shopping and living it up, partying at night, this and that. And then the dad was always at work. And then they would come home for like, an hour at night or something. And then on a weekend, like they would spend like a Saturday, and they would hang out with the kids for like an hour or two. And then after that, the wife and the husband, especially the wife, would be like, oh my God, like, ooh, I'm burnt out, man. I need a vacation. And then they would take off for like 2 or 3 weeks because they were like, I'm exhausted from raising kids. Guys, I haven't been on a vacation without my kids, but like I think one time since they were born. They're 12. They're 12. Now that's my own fault, yes. But I have no nanny. I have no fucking help. And I've been raising my kids since birth. To think that like I hang out with them for a couple hours during the week and then I'm like, oh my God, I need a vacation or I'm gonna fucking die is insane. It's actually fucking insane to me. So yeah, this whole idea that like rich people work harder than others, nonsense. Absolute nonsense. You can't, that's the thing people don't seem to understand. You can't earn $1 billion. It's not possible. If you're talking about actually like earning something because you think you're so smart or you think you've worked harder than other people, horse shit. You're just not paying your employees enough money. And this is the result. You get people who are willing to go into these, these sketchy, seedy places and show up not knowing what's happening just because you want a small, tiny taste, a tiny little handout. It's fucking insane. It's insane. Like, this is nothing to these people. They're like, oh, here's a fucking morsel, a scrap. Let me put your life on the line. Oh, me, I would never do that because I'm important. I mean, I matter more than you. I've actually deluded myself into believing I mean more than you do. Because what? So the fact that we get to this place where the girl gets there and she's like hanging out in this building, she doesn't know what's going on, and they give her this bag and it's like it has a lock on it. This is such a sketch scenario. But do I believe that people would go to these things and do this and actually be, fall for this and be conned into it? And yes, 100%, 100,000%. We have people all over the world who have been sex trafficked, who have, worked for awful people doing terrible things, and people can be like, well, that was up to them. They shouldn't have went, this and that. You don't know desperation. You just don't. If you've ever been so fucking desperate that you don't know what to do and somebody offers you something, you're like, dude, I'll do fucking anything. And a lot of people mean that shit. So, you think prostitutes like sucking dicks? You think they're like stoked about it? Trust me, every prostitute would never suck a dick again if they won the lottery. So when desperate times call for desperate measures, and this is one of those instances, and it's scary, man. The way that the like guests come out and stare at them like they're property. The fact that any human being can do that to another person, where they just look at them like, I own you, I can do whatever I want to you, I have enough money that I can make you do what I want. This is like, gladiator days type shit. It's sickening. It's sickening. I'd kill every fucking one of these people without hesitation. We get Larry Fessenden in here, which is cool. He's always in every fucking thing, and he produces this as well. The anxiety comes from the anticipation. This is something that, I've talked about and thought about a lot in my life. Like, that's something that people don't understand about anxiety isn't about fear, it's about the fear of fear. And that's a conditioned thing within you, and a lot of it has to do with, anticipation. Right? So, like, let's say like, for a perfect analogy, let's just say, hey, I'm gonna punch you in the face, right? You're like, okay, and then I punch you in the face. Okay, it'll hurt, right? It sucks, and you're gonna take it, and you can react however you want to react to it. Let's say I'm like much bigger than you. You have no chance against me physically, and you have to take the punch. I mean, you can fight back, but you're probably just gonna get the shit beat out of you, right? So let's just say those are the parameters. And I'm just like, hey, I'm gonna hit you in the face. I hit you in the face, and then you deal with it because you got the pain. The tooth is broken, the fucking jaw is dislocated, the face is bleeding, whatever. But once you're hit and the pain is in you, and you're dealing with it, it's easy to kind of fully conceptualize it because it's happening, right? But with anxiety, the anxiety is take that scenario and say, okay, at some point, I'm going to punch you in the face really fucking hard. I'm going to fuck you up. I might do it in a minute. I might do it in an hour. I might do it in a year. At some point, you're not going to see it coming. I am going to fucking level you. It could be in 6 years from now. It could be in 2 seconds. You don't know. The anticipation of that. Your brain will run in cycles. It'll just sit there and be like, what if he fucking kills me? What if I'm standing on a ledge? What if I'm standing by a building, building's fucking ledge, and he hits me and I fall off? Like, you can go through a million different scenarios in your head, and all those scenarios, they're hard to feel okay with. You start driving yourself insane with the anticipation of what's behind that door. Once she walks behind that door and she sees it's the spider, and she's somebody who deals well with bugs. They set that up earlier in the film with the cockroaches. Now these are obviously different because they can kill you, but it's something that she's like, she can now start to deal with, because once you see it, right, that's like the whole idea of a monster movie, right? Like, that's why monster movies are very effective when they wait to show you the threat, because once you've seen the threat, you can start to deal with it. You can size it up. You can understand it. You can see what you're up against. And that's why horror movies do much better at shorter lengths, and the less you see the monster, the better, because your imagination is scarier than anything else that could ever be. And and as soon as you can deal with it, then you understand it. And so, like, that's how I grew up. It's like, it was always the threat of violence. It was always the threat of punishment, physically or otherwise. And when you constantly do that, like, I would have rather someone just hit me, right, than just to threaten hitting me all the fucking time and always think it was coming and always believing it. It keeps you on edge. It keeps you in this agitated state of like, is it coming? Is it coming? Like when you're driving in a car and that car veers into your lane for a second, and you get that instant reaction of like, oh shit, like that tense feeling that you feel when that car's coming, you see it and you jerk, right? You jerk the wheel, or you like react. Imagine that moment, that hesitation moment where you just jerk. Imagine staying in that endlessly. That's an anxiety condition. That's the way I feel most of the time. I feel like that car's about to hit me, and I'm just like this at all times. I'm always in that mode. So it's awful. And just that scene really drove that kind of point home for me, where she was sitting out there, and it's just she hears the screams, she sees another girl walk out, and she seems like she's fine. One girl, all the girls around her are in fear. One girl is like excited, she has no problem going in there. She looks kind of like a sadist. So who fucking knows? And that's it. It's easier to deal with the spider than wondering what could be behind that door. It could be anything. It could be literally anything. Her head's going in circles. It's, are they going to cut me up with a fucking chainsaw? Am I playing Russian roulette? Am I, like, what am I doing in there? Are they going to try to eat me? Or, like, you don't know. Are they going to rape me? Of course, that's probably the first thing she thought. Is like, they're going to gangbang me, hold me down, fuck me. It could be anything. And that's the worst. That's the worst. And when she gets in there and she lays in the coffin and she's dealing with the bug, and then the friend gets in there and she like takes some of the time off her because she feels like she's going to get her friend, who fucks her over, won't even look at her. Oh my God. And she's like brought more girls. She keeps bringing girls in there. Olga does not deserve, her to bail her out by bringing her hand in and transferring the contact and whatnot. So I could see this movie kind of being seen as anticlimactic because it doesn't really build to anything bombastic and exciting and like, oh my God, like the other girl dies and she gets her revenge and it's cathartic or satisfying. Like I don't know what to make of the ending. I don't know. She seems like maybe she will come back. Maybe she'll recruit other girls. I don't think she would. From what she did with Olga, it just doesn't seem like she would ever put another girl in that position. Like, I want to believe she left and she never went back there. That's what I want to believe. But I'm not 100% for certain on that. But because she bailed Olga out, because she genuinely seemed to care when that kid went missing, even though that kid was awful to her, because, she does feel like she has a good relationship with the guy at the corner store, and she's like, I'm going to pay you back. She tries to get the number of the cabbie because she wants to give him money. She feels bad. From what I can tell, I do believe she would have tried to pay that guy back. She's just in a bad situation and she doesn't know what else to do. Do you think that bodyguard guy that was keeping her there, if she would have fucked him in the bathroom, would he have actually helped her get out of there? Would that have been worth it for her? If she knew that, like, I would just fucking blow this guy really quick, or if I fucking screw him really quick, getting out of there with your life. I mean, she obviously does not want that to happen, and she shouldn't have to if she doesn't want to, obviously. But do you feel like she would have? The fact that they have to do two different spiders is wild, and yeah, these things are brutal. This is like Fear Factor for the wealthy, fucked up elites, and yeah. So when she got out of there, would the cops do anything? If she went to the police, I don't know. I don't know what they would do. I don't know how she could prove anything. I don't know what they would charge them with exactly. Reckless endangerment? I don't know. She would have to prove that they've killed other people. She would have to bust up that ring. I told Kaylee when I was done watching this, because she kind of overheard some of it, and I was like, she should go out and befriend. Like, she's a pretty girl. She could go out to a bar, start hanging around like biker bars or like a VFW or something like that. Start talking to a bunch of like disgruntled former veterans of foreign wars, and get them to go in there, because every single one of these people should die. Every one of them. Now, the older guy, when she like makes eye contact with him and he's like looking down at the ground, is that the doctor that she saw earlier in the movie? Is that who that was? I didn't think it was him, but maybe it was. Maybe I missed that, or maybe the guy was just like embarrassed when she was staring at him, like, what the fuck, like, why are you here? But why would she single him out specifically? Was that the doctor? I'd have to rewind and see the character again. But yeah, this is one of those movies though, and I've talked about this before. You have some very attractive women getting nude and has incredible tits and the whole thing, and typically that would be something I'd be sitting here talking about and gushing over and everything. But the movie is very upsetting, but also it's like I don't enjoy seeing women naked when it's being forced upon them. Like I want the woman to be, obviously in like the throes of passion or something like that. She's excited. It's sexy time for her and her boyfriend, or like I'm taking a shower and whatever. Like it's just a normal situation where she's not being held hostage or being raped or, you know, being forced to get into a glass box with spiders. So like, even though it's like, yeah, she's got a great body, we get to see a good amount of nudity on both her and Olga, and it's like, oh, that's she's a good looking woman. It's good to see. But like in this situation, it's like I'm not even thinking about it really. Like I just I think about it because now I've seen the movie, and it's typically like I'm the nudity guy. Like I'll admit that on the channel. A lot of people, they're like worried they're gonna get canceled, that their audience is gonna pull out. Perfect choice of words there. And I don't care. Like, let's get real. People like other humans, like physically. Like we like tits, we like dicks, we like whatever. Like whatever you're into. Stop pretending that you don't. I'm open about it. So yeah, but that's an interesting little caveat to that, though. It's like I don't want them to be being abused when I see the nudity. It really takes away from the enjoyment of seeing things. So because yeah, I mean, she's being put in this insanely vulnerable position where she has zero power. These guys are forcing her basically at gunpoint. If she tries to leave, they'll abuse her or kill her, and she has to put her life on the line for nothing. For not, like, what's this gonna get her by? Like a month or two at best, dude. It's not worth it for any amount of money. Like your life, get the fuck out of here. Some people, right, Squid Game and whatever, they're willing to be like, hey, it's better than the life I have to go back to, so fuck it, I'll do it. Anyway, that's that. Did I forget anything else here? Obviously, I mostly talked about just how the movie made me feel, but I feel like everything I said has to do with this film. It's just I didn't talk about the scenes in the movie as much as just the emotions that were brought up while watching this film. So yeah. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Judge me if you will, and I'll see you in the comments for a heated discussion and debate about all of the things I said. No, I'm not going to really debate you. I know what I said is right. You can try to debate it. I'd love to hear it. All right. Adios, guys.